So once again, welcome everybody. It is Monday, it is the Deer Park, it is the Buddha Center. So let's get started like we normally do. Short period of bell meditation. Wherever you are behind your avatar, get into a nice meditation posture. And as I ring the Ching bell, focus on the sound of the bell. Get that deep listening going. Get ready to absorb some Dharma. You're probably going to get distracted. When it happens, I just want you to gently remind yourself and go back to focusing on the sound of the bell. Be a short pause after the short meditation. I'll do the 3 recitations and then on with the talk for today. Give you a moment, get into a nice meditation posture. We begin at the sound of the bell. I go for refuge to the Buddha, the teacher. I go for refuge to the Dharma, the teaching. I go for refuge to the Sangha, the taught. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. I have taken refuge in the Buddha. I have taken refuge in the Dharma. I have taken refuge in the Sangha. 3 pure precepts. Cease to do harm. Do only good. Do good for others. Bodhisattva vow. However innumerable all beings are, I vow to lead them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, I vow to follow it completely. Swaha. So the subject for today is attachment, or non-attachment, or detachment, if you will. So all kinds of attachment things today. So as you saw in the notice, the title of this is The Goal of Non-Attachment. So each of you have goals. I have goals. Right? So each of you have goals and you have desires, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's a human thing, right? We need these goals and desires because we want to look forward to stuff. But you can't become so attached to them that you fail to realize that your perception of how to reach them might be incomplete, or that the chosen goal you have can no longer be reached. You all have persons, places, and things that you are attached to. A loved one, the family home, maybe that fresh new pair of white kicks. Can you detach from them when the loved one dies? When the family home isn't big enough anymore? When the first blob of mud mars them? Will you be able to let them go without emotion or regret? This is non-attachment. So here's a quick little Zen story. It's called The Meditating Monk. And again, it's all about non-attachment. So you got the first person speaking is the student, and the second person is the teacher. So here we go. Again, it's called The Meditating Monk. But I must practice, Sensei. How do you practice? I look to experience enlightening moments through my practice of Zazen, Sensei. So, your practice is Zazen? The student, confused by the answer, or confused by the question, answered, yes, through committed practice, I will find enlightening moments. So, you sit in Zazen continuously. You set aside all other responsibilities and actions, such as cleaning, eating, and being in the company of others, just so you may practice. Yes, Sensei. It is through my practice that I will experience enlightening moments. As the awakened one sat beneath the Bodhi tree, I too will succeed through my efforts. Have you found success? Not yet. Till now, I have only found discomfort, hunger, and disconnection. But I am committed to my practice. And Zazen is the whole of your practice? Yes! Then you are truly becoming. The sensei smiled and walked away. That's the meditating monk. Just a little Zen story. Well, in this story, the sensei recognizes that the student hasn't reached the realization of an encompassing Buddhist practice. The student's craving for the experience of moments of enlightenment is resulting in psycho-emotional suffering and unsatisfactoriness due to the misunderstanding that Buddhist practice and its benefits can only be achieved on the cushion. This is, let's call it an uncommon view that people have of Buddhism, that Buddhist practice is done on the cushion. That's because, you hear, oh, I spent 3 hours on my cushion. Oh, I was 7 days meditating at a retreat. This gives people the idea that as Buddhists, that's what we do to be Buddhist. We practice in each moment, whether we are on the cushion, at the bus stop, shopping in the grocery store, or every other activity we find ourselves in. Always practicing. The young monk in the story had set a goal to experience moments of enlightenment based on his misunderstanding of the role of Zazen, or just sitting meditation practice. So doing any action out of attachment to its relation to a goal is known in Buddhism as becoming. In this context, the monk is becoming because he has attached his sense of identity, what he wants to be, on a particular desire that is unnaturally related to the world as he wants it to be. He has attached his whole practice to meditation. Having the goal, this is not the problem. Having a plan to reach that goal, not a problem. Sticking to a plan that isn't working well because, well, that's the plan, well, that's going to lead to suffering and unsatisfactoriness because that goal is just going to stay out of your reach. You must be open to altering your plan and even changing your goal depending on the situations that present themselves. Because it doesn't matter what the goal may be. Any amount of goals or any number of them, they're going to be affected by impermanence, and they're going to be affected by the causal process of the universe. There's a character on the television show The Flash. I don't know if you guys watch The Flash. It's Captain Cold. And he says this. This is one of his things that he is a criminal by, right? This is his criminal mastermind at work. He says, make a plan, execute the plan. The plan doesn't work, throw away the plan. Well, this is the Dharma of life. Making plans, trying to make the plan work, plan doesn't work, we throw away the plan, we start again. You know, we all make plans. We all make plans that don't work. But the character test comes when the choice is made to react with anger and anxiety, or to respond with experiential knowledge of impermanence and causal conditioning. So rather than give up on the plan is skillfully reimagined and re-engaged. You may have heard that Buddhists, they don't set goals because a goal is a desire, and a desire leads to craving. Okay, a desire can lead to craving, but we're talking about unnatural desires. Desires that aren't based in an understanding of impermanence and causal conditioning. And this is most often said about meditation, that we shouldn't set goals when we meditate. And in the scenario of the meditating monk, that is certainly the case. The meditating monk's goal is ascribed to meditative practice had become a craving. And I've seen this happen to folks. They get so excited about meditation, and maybe they feel like they're getting so good at it that that's all they want to focus on. Everything they do is focused on, when am I going to get to meditate again? And that's a craving. That's an unnatural desire. Now, I'm going to agree wholeheartedly that setting a goal to be reached while meditating is not a good idea. Because what's going to happen if you set a goal that you're trying to reach while meditating? Well, the thoughts of that goal, they're just going to keep springing up in your monkey mind, and they're going to keep clouding the meditative process. Because it's going to be, are we there yet? Am I there yet? But we do set goals for why we meditate. Like, I'm doing meditation. Why? Because I want to develop within myself more loving kindness and compassion. We set goals for how we mean for our meditative practice to have a positive causal effect on how we are. I want to be calmer. I want to be more focused. I want to lower my blood pressure. So we want that meditative practice to have a causal effect on how we are, but also on how we see the world around us. For example, when we engage in dynamic mind meditation, it is meant to expand our awareness and our mindfulness of our connections with everything. When we engage in walking meditation, we do it to develop a deeper connection with the body-mind, the whole mechanics of walking and what the body does and how the mind responds to it. There's always a goal for meditation, but during meditation, it is all about the doing, right? It's all about being in that moment. And having a goal worked for Siddhartha, and it'll work for all of us. Siddhartha realized the truth of human suffering and unsatisfactoriness, and he set a goal to do something about it. First, he took the ascetic route. That didn't work so well, so he tried something else. He tried the Jainist route. That didn't work. Tried the yogic route. That was okay. He tried the Brahmic route. That didn't work out. He tried the teachings and practices of others. He tried sitting under a tree. That sort of worked. I say sort of because he came to be awakened to the ideal of the Four Ennobling Truths and a way to alleviate suffering and unsatisfactoriness. It worked for him. He understood it, but was concerned that others wouldn't be able to. And lucky for us, he didn't set aside that goal. He devised a way to teach people and to spread the concept of the middle path. He had to change the way he delivered the message depending on who he was talking to. You know, the whole skillful means, appropriate action thing. And later he realized that this Dharma he'd worked so hard to figure out would have to change later on, or it could not continue to be effective. The Buddha did not let himself get attached to any one method or any one voice. He recognized and practiced the Buddhist ideals of non-attachment, impermanence, and dependent origination. My teacher, the Venerable Shi-Yong-Shang, Eubank Sensei, he defined attachment this way, quote, becoming fixated to our ideas about people, places, things, and concepts in a way that fails to recognize their impermanent, changing, and evolving natures, unquote. Again, pointing directly to, sure, we have attachments. The thing is, can we detach from them when that moment becomes necessary? The Buddhist ideal of non-attachment and the life ideal of goals and desires can and must have a symbiotic, let's call it a pragmatic relationship, right? An effective and valuable relationship. Non-attachment and goals and desires. Engaged Dharma, we take a rigorous pragmatic look at Buddhist philosophy and we put those ideals into practice. And then we decide if they are useful and productive in our lives. That's a goal. That's a desire. So not setting or having goals is not useful and productive. So pragmatically, it's good for us to have goals. Without goals, we would tend to just kind of drift aimlessly from situation to situation, simply reacting with emotion rather than taking positive actions. Then there are those people who have hard and fast goals, and they refuse to deviate from them even when presented with proof that their goal has no value anymore, or that their path to that goal is no longer viable. This too is not useful or productive. Attachment is a negative disposition that can become a major source of psycho-emotional anguish and unsatisfactoriness. It comes from not realizing the impermanent nature of ourselves and the world around us, and of resisting those inevitable changes. We become disconnected from reality as it really is because we cling to and crave our own expectations of reality. There is no aspect of ourselves or our world that will remain static, unchanged. This is something we only have to peer deeply and honestly into our own lives and the world around us to realize. If we want to practice a useful and productive brand of Buddhism, we have to realize that the type of attachment the Buddha speaks about is the type of attachment that leads to a creation of or deepening of the psycho-emotional suffering and unsatisfactoriness of ourselves and the world around us. Instead, we need to develop those practices which promote human flourishing. We must avoid the attachments that lead to the dangerous cravings that the Buddha warns about in the Four Noble Truths. Non-attachment This is an encompassing and corrective view that can be applied not only to our goals and the paths that lead to reaching them, it can equally be applied to relationships, family, careers, dependencies, and all other aspects of our lives. It does not mean that we don't love, or that we don't enjoy, or that we don't find happiness in the world around us. It does mean that we recognize the impermanent nature of the universe and we prepare our body-minds to deal with those changes in effective and encompassing ways that promote human flourishing. If we skillfully redescribe non-attachment and call it detachment, we might be able to reach a more appropriate view of what's being talked about. So the idea of detachment, you get that new car and you love it. It's a great car. You want to take care of it. You do everything you can to keep it from getting scratched in a parking lot. And inevitably, it's going to happen. So your goal was keep that new car as new as possible. And you do. You try. You put that effort and that commitment into doing that. But since you don't have control over everything, right? There's external things you have no control over. Eventually, the car is going to get dinged. Well, a person who's attached, that's the person that gets angry, kicks the tires, tries to demand who damaged their car, and makes a big scene about it. The non-attached or detached person, if you will, says, hey, it had to happen eventually. I kept it as nice as I could for as long as I could. Now I just need to keep it as nice as I can from here on out. Impermanence and causal conditioning. So maybe if you're thinking non-attachment and that's not working out for you, try detachment and see if maybe that will give you a better way of practicing this idea of non-attachment. You have loved ones. You have pets. You have houses. You have books that you enjoy, right? We all have things that we enjoy. We just have to know that there are times that will come when those things will not be around. We have to be able to just let them go.